We always hear about the environmental problems of big cities, but you know what we don't hear about enough?
What's that?
Rural areas and their waste.
Ah, yeah, out of sight, out of mind, right, Glenn?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a huge problem. Did you know something like 85% of rural areas don't have any formal way to collect trash?
85%. Wow. That's a lot of garbage with nowhere to go.
It is. And today we're going to look at a new solution that is trying to tackle this. It's called the 17B Waste Collection and Recycling Platform.
Interesting name.
Yeah, and we've got a recent press release with all the details on this platform and our mission for this deep dive today to understand how it works and what makes it so different from other solutions.
Yeah, especially because they're calling it a whole waste management ecosystem, so sounds like it's more than just picking up trash.
Right, it is. So back to that 85% number. Think about what happens when there's no trash collection for that many people.
Well, the obvious thing is it ends up everywhere.
Exactly. Open dumping, burning trash.
Yeah.
That can't be good for the environment.
Definitely not. Air pollution, soil contamination, plus all that stuff that could be recycled just gets lost.
And don't forget the waterways.
Oh, yeah, all that plastic and garbage ends up in rivers and lakes.
And that can impact people's health, too.
It's a chain reaction. It all comes back around.
So that brings us to the 17B platform. They're calling it a, what was it?
A groundbreaking waste management ecosystem.
Right. So tell me more about what they mean by an ecosystem.
Well, it sounds like they're trying to connect everyone involved in the whole waste cycle. The people in rural areas who have the trash, the people who can collect it, and the people who can actually use those recycled materials.
Okay, so like a network.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they built this platform with the help of this Eon Reality AI tool. I think it's called an AI-powered entrepreneur guide or something like that.
So they used AI to design a waste management platform. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it probably helped them think about the problem really strategically.
That's a good sign. So let's start with how this helps the people living in those rural areas. What do they get out of this?
I mean, first and foremost, they finally get their trash picked up regularly.
Right, so no more burning or dumping it wherever.
Exactly. It's a much cleaner, healthier way to live. But it goes beyond that. They actually teach people how to sort their trash properly.
Oh, so they can separate the recyclables.
Yeah, I mean, recycling only works if you're actually separating things the right way.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I bet having a cleaner environment makes people feel better about their community, too.
definitely. It's all connected. Pride in your community, taking care of the environment, it all makes a difference.
Okay, so it's good for the environment and it's good for the people living there. But what about the economy?
Well, that's where the local entrepreneurs come in. This platform makes it really easy for them to start their own waste collection businesses. They even call it a turnkey system.
Turnkey. So it's
Yeah.
like ready to go.
Right, it's a package deal. You get everything you need, the equipment, the training. They even teach you how to sort and process the waste. So you're not just collecting it, you're adding value to it.
Wow, so it's not just a job, it's a whole business opportunity.
Exactly. But like with any business, you need customers.
Right. And it might be harder to find those customers in rural areas.
Yeah, well, that's another thing this platform helps with. It connects these new entrepreneurs with businesses that need recycled materials.
Oh, okay, so they have a guaranteed market.
It sounds that way, yeah. So they get paid by the households for collecting the trash, and they get paid again by businesses for the recycled materials.
So it's like two revenue streams.
Yep. And that can create more stable jobs and really boost the local economy.
So far, it seems like a pretty amazing system. It's good for the environment, the people living there, the local economy.
It really does. And we haven't even talked about the benefits for the companies that buy those recycled materials.
Oh, right. What about them?
Well, for starters, this platform means they have a steady source of high-quality recycled materials. And they're able to reach new sources of materials, right? All those rural areas that they couldn't really access before.
Okay, so they're getting more and different recycled materials. But is there anything else?
Actually, yeah. There are more and more regulations that require companies to be responsible for what happens to their products, even after people are done using them. It's called extended producer responsibility.
I've heard of that.
So this platform helps those companies meet those regulations because they know where the materials are coming from and they know they've been processed properly.
Okay, that makes sense. So it really is a whole ecosystem. Everyone benefits in some way.
Exactly. And they're calling this approach democratizing waste management.
Interesting. What do they mean by that?
Well, it's about giving power to the people. It moves away from the old school top-down ways of doing things. Instead, it puts the local communities in charge, letting them build their own solutions that work for them.
So it's not just about providing a service. It's about empowering those communities.
You got it. And that AI-powered entrepreneur guide, I think, really played a key role in helping them design a platform that's specifically tailored for these rural communities. The entrepreneur said something like it helped them take their passion for solving this local problem and turn it into a real sustainable business.
That AI tool is sounding more and more impressive. How did it actually help them develop the platform?
Well, it sounds like it took them through a step-by-step process. First, it helped them really define their purpose. And of course, environmental sustainability was a big part of that. Then they had to identify the specific problems they were trying to solve, like the lack of infrastructure, the wasted materials, the pollution.
So it forced them to get really clear about the challenges.
Yeah. And then they had to validate their idea, see if there was really a demand for this service, if it was actually feasible, and if they could make money doing it. And all the signs pointed to yes.
And that brings them to the actual solution, right? The platform itself.
Exactly. So then they designed the whole system, the decentralized collection networks, the technology for managing it all, the processing facilities, and the connections with those buyers. It was a really thorough process.
It does seem like they've thought of everything, but that brings up another important point. How do they keep this going? How is this all financially sustainable?
Well, they've got a clever strategy. They have a few different ways to make money. It's not just about the fees they collect from households. They also make money from selling those recycled materials. And they're even planning to create and sell their own products from the recycled stuff.
Oh, like upcycled products.
Yeah, exactly. And they're looking into getting contracts with local governments. It's a smart mix of income streams.
Yeah, it is. So what about their plans for the future? Where do they go from here?
It sounds like they're taking a really measured approach. They want to start with a pilot program. Test it out, work out the kinks. Then once that's working well, they'll expand to more communities. And they've got plans to add more things to the platform, like dealing with plastics, which can be harder to recycle. It seems like they have a clear roadmap to grow and become even more impactful.
So they're starting small but thinking big. Now, let's talk tech. We're talking about rural areas, right? That can be tough.
Yeah.
Spotty internet, dirt roads. How to deal with that?
Well, they've thought about that too. They've built in a lot of cool tech features.
Okay, like what?
So, for example, they use route optimization software. That helps them plan the most efficient routes for picking up the trash.
Especially important when you're dealing with long distances and maybe not the best roads.
Yeah, exactly. And then they have material tracking systems, so they can follow the waste all the way from collection to processing. It helps them keep track of everything.
So it's like a chain of custody for the materials.
Right. And then they've got quality assessment tools. That's important to ensure the recycled materials are actually valuable to the companies buying them.
Makes sense.
And of course, there's the digital marketplace that connects everyone. And they're measuring their impact. They're tracking how much waste they're diverting from landfills, how many jobs they're creating, how much money they're putting into local economies.
It's important for proving that it's working.
For sure. But it's not just about fancy technology. It's about making that technology work in a rural setting.
That's a good point.
So they've made sure that a lot of the platform can work offline because internet access can be a problem.
Ah, that's smart.
Yeah, and the interface is super user-friendly. It's very visual, so you don't need to be tech-savvy to use it.
That makes sense.
And they've even adjusted the GPS technology to work on those informal roads that might not even be on a map. They've really thought about all the little details.
And even the way they ask people to sort their trash is simple and straightforward.
Yeah, and they offer flexible payment options. They get that people in rural areas might not always have regular income.
It sounds like they've really tried to understand and address the specific challenges these communities face. I'm impressed.
Me too. It's so refreshing to see a solution that's this well thought out.
Absolutely. It's more than just collecting garbage. It's about creating a system that works for everyone, that protects the environment, and that helps these communities thrive.
Well said. And it all started with an entrepreneur who wanted to make a difference, a little AI guidance, and a whole lot of innovation.
So to our listener, think about this. We've been talking about waste management, but what other problems could this kind of model solve? Could we use this kind of community-driven, tech-powered approach in other areas that need help?
Yeah, where else could we democratize solutions? Education, healthcare, access to clean water.
It's a powerful idea. What if we could empower any community to solve its own challenges using technology and local ingenuity? That's something worth thinking about.
Definitely. It might be the future of problem solving.
Food for thought.